Just wonder how many of us lose things along the way that we just accept as being lost forever. I used to be confident. I used to have passion. I used to feel like I lived a life of purpose, but something happened, something shifted, and I just don't know what happened. Not only do I not know what happened, but I'm not even actively looking for what I lost. I've just learned to live with that piece of me gone. I'm a church girl. And there's this song they used to sing in church that says, I went into the enemy's camp and I took back what he stole from me. It's a great song because it is not that the enemy will not steal from you. It just means that the enemy can't keep what he stole. It doesn't mean that depression won't take something from you. It doesn't mean that life won't take something from you. It just means that life can't keep what it stole. It means that I'm not going to learn to live with this thing just lost. I'm not just going to live with this half version of who I am. If you take it from me, I'm coming back to get it because there is a blessing attached to every part of me. That means you're going to have to give me my joy back. That means you're going to have to give me my power back. That means you're going to have to give me my anointing back. You can't just take it from me. I want it back. I want it back because when God gave it to me, there was a blessing connected to it. And if we are not careful, there will be things that we lose along the way that we just resign ourselves to never finding again. And so I want to challenge you to never forget the value of what you lost. Never forget the value and what you lost. Because the enemy's camp sometimes is disguised as a divorce. And the enemy's camp sometimes is designed as I got released from a job. The enemy's camp is sometimes disguised as these life situations, and it would be so easy for us to say that I just don't need that part of me, but it takes a special kind of person to say, I'm going to go back into the enemy's camp. I'm going to go back into that season of my life that changed me and shaped me, and I'm going to find the joy connected to it. I'm going to find the wisdom connected to it, because my word told me that all things will work together for my good. And if that thing has not worked together for my good, that means there's still something down on the inside of that situation that is going to make me better. Don't give up on what you lost. Don't give up on what you lost. You might have to fight for it. You may have to lose some friendships over it. You may have to change your environment for it. But I'm telling you right now, don't give up on what you lost, because it is Saul looking for what he lost that reveals God's plan for his life. It was in the process of him looking for these lost donkeys that seemed to have not much value or not much purpose, but it meant something to Saul. And because it meant something to Saul, God was able to use it to set the stage for the next dimension of who he was going to be. When we begin our text, Saul is about to give up on looking for the donkeys. And his servant says to him, he says, listen, before we give up, there is a prophet, there is a seer who may be able to tell us which direction to look in. I love this because what it spoke to me is the value of having someone in your life who can add valuable perspective to your search. Yeah. I know so many times I'm like coaching people who want to be in relationships, and I want to find someone who I can go to the movies with, and I want to cuddle with someone. But when I decided to marry my husband, I was searching for what I lost. And so when he decided to come into my life, the only thing I wanted to know is, can you add valuable perspective to my search? That's really good. Because I need someone who is going to help me get back to the version of me that God knew. The version of me that life tried to take away from me in the process. all perspective is not good perspective, but there is something about having someone who adds valuable perspective to your life. You may not be able to fix the problem for me, but if you could widen my lens so that I can see all of the possible resources, then you've added valuable perspective for me. You should start asking your friendships and asking of your relationship, what type of perspective do you add to me? Sometimes people add perspective that is not always necessary. And if you're one of those people, we love you. We just want you to know that when we're gaining weight and you tell us we're gaining weight, that doesn't help us. That's not valuable perspective. But there is something about having someone in your circle who adds valuable perspective to your growth. And when you have that, you need to honor those people in your life, because it is that valuable perspective that the servant gave that led him one step closer to his destiny. I didn't just come to church because I wanted to feel good and sing songs. I came to church because I needed some perspective added to my situation. I needed some valuable perspective. I didn't just stop talking to certain people because I didn't love them. I just needed some valuable perspective. And whenever I presented my purpose and presented my dream, you made me think it wasn't possible. And so I learned that I had to protect what God was doing in my life and only allow people who could see it properly access to me. I need valuable perspective. I don't need just any kind of insight. I need someone who has prayed and submitted their vision to God, so when they look at my situation, they see the possibilities for miracles. Don't come bringing me no more bad news. I don't need any more statistics. I don't need any more issues. I don't need any more problems. If you can't help me save this child, if you can't help me write this book, then pray for me and go sit down in the corner somewhere. Because I need valuable perspective. I need anointed perspective. Not everybody can speak into my marriage. Not everyone can speak into my dream. Not everyone understands what God is doing for me. I need valuable perspective. That's why I woke up this morning and dragged myself into church. I could have been anywhere else, but I decided I needed a word from the Lord because it adds value to my perspective. Maybe I really am fearfully and wonderfully made. Maybe his grace is sufficient. Maybe I can do anything with Christ within me. I needed some valuable perspective. Someone who understood that what I was searching for has value to me. The donkeys that Saul is looking for, they add value to who he is. And so I need people in my life, and I need opportunities in my life, and I need ministry in my life that recognizes the value in what I lost. Don't shame me. Don't condemn me. Don't make me feel any worse than I already feel. I need you to help add value and perspective to my search. So Saul's servant adds value. And this is what I love. This is when we start really getting into the beauty of the text. It's because Saul is looking for his donkeys. That's it. But at the same time that they have decided to go and see Samuel, at the same time they've decided to go see Samuel, God has told Samuel, I'm sending someone to you who I'm going to anoint as king. Saul is looking for his donkeys. Samuel is looking for a king. God says, I'm sending someone to you who's going to be king, but they think they're just looking for donkeys. So when Saul sees Samuel, all he's thinking about is his donkeys. But when Samuel sees Saul, he's thinking about the kingdom. Oh, God. Yeah. This is the moment when we realize that the search was just an excuse to get Saul in position. Oh, Lord, help me. To Saul, it seemed like Samuel was on the move and that he was just going about his everyday function. They said, when you see Samuel, he's going to be moving up to the high place. So when Saul sees Samuel, it looks like he's just going about his everyday life. It looks like he's just doing what he's supposed to be doing. He doesn't know that Samuel's waiting on him. That's really good to me. Because right now it looks like the industry is just moving. Right now it looks like the world is just turning. Right now it looks like everything is just functioning and you're the only one who has a need. But I hear God saying it looks like it's moving, but in reality it's actually waiting on you to arrive. I'm gonna let the people who really need that take about 10 seconds to thank God that it looks like it's moving, but it's really waiting on the anointing I carry. It looks like it's gonna move on without me. It looks like maybe it could just slip past me, but I know that God has prepared something for me. This is a word for somebody who recognizes that God has already spoken a word over my life. He's already made it known who I'm gonna be. So I'm gonna stay in position, because while it looks like everything is moving, it's actually waiting on me. It looks like everybody's doing okay. It looks like the industry doesn't need another voice like mine, but the reality is it's waiting on me, baby. It's waiting on me, baby. It's waiting on me to step in position. It's waiting on me to answer my call. It's waiting on me to recognize who I am. It's waiting on me. I'm not scared. I'm not gonna lose my spot. I'm not gonna lose my position. It's waiting on me. It may look like it's moving, it's award season. It may look like it's moving, it's promotion season. But I'm not worried about that, because what's mine is mine. What God has set apart from me, no man can touch. It's still waiting on me. That child is still waiting on me. That job is still waiting on me. That's why you gotta go back and figure out what you lost. Because it was in the process of Saul figuring out what he lost that it led him to who he was always supposed to be. And don't be afraid or discouraged when it looks like everything is moving on and that you're just left behind, trying to find what you lost. I was supposed to graduate by now. I should have started my business by now. I'm just trying to figure out what I lost in the process. But because you have committed to figuring out what you lost, God says I can bless that. Because if I give you more, you won't lose it. You'll stop everything until you find it. Because you have decided to not just live without what you lost. And it was in this hunt, and it was in this search that he told the prophet Samuel, wait for him. Wait for him. He told the prophet Samuel the day before that he's coming. He didn't tell Saul the day before. He told Samuel, because he did not want to dilute Saul's vision and make him start looking for a crown when at that time he was only supposed to be looking for what he lost. But he told the next dimension that he's on his way. God, I want to let that go. He prepared the next dimension for what was happening in this dimension, because he knew it was only a matter of time before the two dimensions collided. And when the two dimensions collide, I want you to be prepared, because if you look at what you see in this dimension, you'll see a boy looking for a donkey. But I want you to know that what God sees is a man who can become king. So God has already gone ahead of you and let them know. They may not have the degree and they may not speak the language that everyone else speaks, but I'm letting you know in advance there's someone coming who carries what you need. So, in my text, Samuel and Saul are about to engage in their first discussion. I love this because Saul doesn't even know who he's speaking to. He says, do you know where the seer is? Prophet Samuel says, fool, I am the seer. It's okay. If you're going to be king, I'm going to have to get you more anointed. If you're going to be king, you're going to have to start looking for certain things differently. If you're going to be king, if you're going to start eating like a king and acting like a king, you're going to have to recognize that any person you talk to could carry you to the next dimension of your destiny. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can always tell who a person really is by how they speak to the people they don't think they need. And so immediately, Saul's inability to recognize who Samuel is let Samuel know, I'm going to have to start preparing you for kingship. I love that because God's not just going to put you in a situation that you're not prepared for. He's going to create a bridge, a person, an opportunity, a mentor who is going to prepare you for who you're supposed to be. You're not just connected to this ministry. You're not just connected to those people who you have been admiring on Instagram. You're not just connected to those people who have been pouring into your life. They're your bridge to help train you for the kingship that God has assigned to your name. Before this encounter, Saul and his servant have a discussion and say to one another, okay, if we're going to go see the seer, then we need to make sure we have some kind of gift so that we can honor who the seer is. And so they scrape together what they have so that they have something to honor the seer with. But what shakes them is when the seer, the prophet Samuel, begins to honor them. Yeah, Samuel says to him, I am the seer, go up before me to the high place where you shall eat with me today, and tomorrow I will let you go and will tell you all that is in your heart. And then he tells him where the donkeys are, but then Saul immediately rejects what Samuel says in that moment, which taught me that sometimes we are more prepared to give honor than we are to receive honor. Because as long as Saul was the one giving, he was okay. But when Samuel said something to him that would have to stretch his capacity and make him capable of receiving, he rejected it. And I wonder how often we're willing to pour into other people and we're willing to love other people. But when it's time for us to level up within ourselves, we reject the very thing that was meant to help us get to that next dimension of who God has called us to be. It really is easier to give than receive. Because receiving challenges my insecurities. Receiving challenges the areas where I have deficiencies. Receiving makes me look at the areas where I have brokenness, and it makes me easier to just give to you and give to you and give to you instead of receiving in return. But Samuel and Saul are going to be in relationship for a long time. And Saul recognizes that if you're going to be king and you're not prepared to be king, man, I felt like that was for somebody. You're not prepared to be king yet. I'm not shaming you. I'm just letting you know where you are so that you can receive what you need in order to become king. Because if you stay in a position where you realize I'm not ready yet, and I'm okay with not being ready yet, I just need someone who's going to come into my life that's going to help me get ready so that when I get there, I don't squander it. So that when I get there, I don't lose myself in the process. I'm okay not being ready yet. Everyone else can get promoted because if they're ready, God will keep them there. And if they're not ready, God will remove them. But when I get there, I want to stay. And so I need someone who recognizes that I'm not prepared yet. And so the first thing that he does is he challenges him to receive honor, to receive the high seat at the table. Samuel says to walk up ahead of me. Man, go up before me means that you're going to walk ahead of me. At that time, Samuel's the highest priest there is, but he says to Saul, I want you to walk ahead of me. I want you to start walking like a king. Man, God help me. I want you to start walking differently. I want you to stop walking like you're looking for what you lost, because God has already given you what you've lost. You know, I think that sometimes we can be so consumed with just getting what we lost that we're not prepared for the overflow connected to it. Because God doesn't just give you what you lost. He gives you exceedingly and abundantly, above all that you could ask or imagine. But the question is, will you be prepared for the training that comes with the exceedingly and abundantly? Because sometimes we just want what we lost so that we can go back to who we were. But God says, I'm going to give you what you lost, but you can't go back to who you were. There's overflow connected to what you lost. And so I want to know, can you learn to eat like a king? What I want to know is, can you learn to boss up to the overflow? I want to know, will you open the books in the middle of the night and start reading and studying to prepare for the next meeting? I want to know, can you eat like a king? You just wanted a job. I gave you a promotion. But now I want to know, can you level up and eat like a king?